Hi everyone, this is Christina Barr and you're watching Black Tea News. Hi everyone, this is Christina Barr. Welcome to Black Tea News. And today, I'm starting a little bit early today because I got a fundraiser to get to today. But yeah, we're going to be talking about some more. We have some more COVID restrictions on the horizon. Could be announced, I guess, right now while I'm even talking to you. But the Biden administration, they're really going to be pushing for schools to be doing tests. I don't know how many tests. I don't know how often. What's going to be the protocol for someone when someone tests positive, but they gave a lot of money to schools and they're obviously really trying to push people to get tested because they know it's really inconvenient and people don't like it. And they really want to push the mandates even though kids are really not at risk with COVID, but they have an agenda. And why they are so fiercely pushing for it, we have yet to, I guess, nail down, but it's creepy. I'm just going to say it's creepy. I also wanted to talk about someone that was released from the Minnesota Freedom Fund that Kamala Harris pushed, ended up committing a murder. And Kamala Harris retweeted them in the midst of the riots and stuff last year. And she wasn't the only one. There are a lot of celebrities that tagged on as well. So we're going to be talking about that. I want to talk about this controversy with Marvel's new movie, Shang-Chi, which no, I did not say it correctly the way that they tell you to say it in the film, because comic book fans have been saying Shang-Chi for a very long time. And that's really not new. And it won't be in there. There's a lot of fans that are like, I bought the books, I support the books, and that's what we're accustomed to. But I think I have a nail in the coffin in that debate. So I want to talk about that a little bit. And also the big news is that Larry Elder was attacked yesterday. Larry Elder, who is running for governor of California, who will probably be the first black governor. If Gavin Newsom is recalled, he will be the first black governor of California. And he was attacked yesterday by a woman wearing a monkey mask. So the left has lost their mind. So before we jump into the headlines, please make sure that you guys go to blacktnews.com. Not necessarily right now, but I just want to encourage you guys to do that. So you can check out different articles that have written on the website. You can check out other content. You can see where I am on all the platforms. I got the links all there. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. All my handles right there are at Black Tea News, and my only one that's different right now is at True Black Tea, and at True Black Tea is on my Twitter, and that is also my backup account for TikTok, which actually that's the only account I'm posting at right now for the next week, because TikTok, those fascists, I love the app, and I just wish they treat their people a little better. But hey, story of our lives as conservatives online, I guess. But they gave me a violation, but they didn't tell me what it was. Actually, I didn't get a violation. They just decided to suspend me for like a week. So if you're following me on TikTok, make sure that you're following my backup account at True Black Tea. And of course, it's black like the color and tea like the teacup. And also, please check out blacktnews.com and check out different merchandise I have on the website. Just going to quickly show you a couple things so I can get to the news. I don't want to have a long broadcast today. Got a lot to get to today. Yeah, but there's just some of the things. Please support blacktnews.com. And if you've been to the website lately, before it was just like you had to pay through PayPal, and not everybody wants to make a PayPal account. So now you can just enter in your credit card information without having to make some kind of account. So you can go to the website and donate if you would like to donate. If you like what I do here, you want to keep supporting. Thank you very much to everyone who shares, likes, subs, all that stuff, and has gone the extra distance to buy something or to donate. I appreciate you guys so much. You can do that at blacktnews.com/donate. And you can do that via PayPal or just entering your card information. Either way is all good. So let's get to the big story of the day. Now, just FYI, when I do have a video of when they were attacking Larry Elder. There are some bad words in there. I'm going to try to hit the censor button. I'm not accustomed to it, so I'm going to do my darndest. Usually I like to blot it out, but I didn't have a lot of time. But he was at an event yesterday, and a woman in a monkey mask is on a bike, and she starts throwing an egg at him, and she misses, and then she ends up getting into a physical altercation with one of the guys who are with him, and the audacity of women to just put hands on men, especially because a lot of men aren't going to do anything and shouldn't do anything, but you really shouldn't be attacking other people, period. It's first of all, because you don't know who's going to be crazy and who's going to do something anyway, so please just stop, don't do that. But here is a clip, and it's just really crazy that people are so crazy about this election. They are so mad. They're throwing everything at Larry Elder. I think they really think that he's going to win.
Don't touch me again. Don't touch him. I'll pop him in the motherfucker nose. I'll fuck you up. What you do? You don't hear anything. You understand me, boy? Marina, rip your head. Hey! Fuck with me, boy.
You get that sorry piece of shit out of here.
Hey, Michael, stop.
You want to say? Get that piece of shit out of here. You got to bring that racist ass motherfucker out here. I don't understand that. Here's a man that don't even like his own fucking people and running for governor. For what? He has 1 year to do if he even wins. He can't do shit. He wouldn't be able to get nothing done. So why is he running? Democrats control everything. He couldn't get nothing done.
I'm sorry. I think I was really bad with that censor button. I obviously missed a lot. But anyway, you saw the attitudes that people had, and they were physically attacking them. And you have media around, and like, you know, when you're on a TV show and it's live and you got, well, like reality TV, and you get people who start fighting each other, which they do want to instigate that stuff, but then they pull people apart, and it's just like, who in real life is really trying to like stop this? Because you have his people versus the crazy crowd, and the journalist's like, oh, isn't this interesting? And it's like, no, these people should be arrested. I mean, you have the girl who punched him, you have other people are hitting, you have that crazy intense guy who was calling those people boy. I mean, who goes up and calls people boy? Like, he didn't call Larry Elder specifically that, but the people who are with the black guy running for governor. And let's just talk about the fact that you have this woman who looks like she's a white woman from what I can tell, wearing a monkey mask, going after a man who is running for governor of California, who be the first black governor. Just imagine, let's play a game. What if this was Stacey Abrams? And these were Republicans attacking them and a person wearing a monkey mask. Wall-to-wall coverage. Wall-to-wall coverage. Do you remember the media's hype as they pushed the Jussie Smollett thing when it was obviously not true? And here we have actual video of something that happened. Like, I did a video, like, on TikTok last night, and it was on my, unfortunately, it had to be on my smaller account, my backup account, because, man, the other one would have blew up, but this is crazy, and people in the comments are like, this is a hate crime. I'm like, how they identify it, yes, certainly, it should be a hate crime. So those people are cowards, those people are mentally disturbed, obviously, and then at the end, so you got this dude calling people boy, you got the woman with the monkey face on, and then at the end you have a black guy who's just there, a part of it, he should be condemning these other people. And he's like, but he goes after Larry Elder and says these brainwashed talking points about how Larry Elder, he says he doesn't care about his community, and he so and etc., and then start saying Democrats control everything. Yeah, that's the problem in California. You have a bunch of bad leadership with no checks and balances, and that's why you need a recall, because no one will stand up to the tyrannical people who run your state and who are running it to the ground. That's your problem. Maybe you should try something different. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You need to try something new. And then he says that Larry Elder can't even do anything because Democrats control everything. Well, if you actually listen to Larry Elder, because even Republicans have had this sort of critique about Larry Elder, like, what are you actually going to do? What can he accomplish? And so veto power is important. In California, even though they have so many Democrats that could obviously overcome a veto, it's very rare that they actually do bypass a veto, because if it's some kind of dumb legislation that they're trying to pass, he has the power of the bully pulpit and can make a case to the constituents like, hey, these people they're trying to decriminalize knowingly giving someone AIDS, which they like already did that in like California, FYI. They got really strict COVID restrictions, but they want to make sure that you didn't have to let your partner know if you had HIV or something. It might not be AIDS, it might be HIV. It's something like that. And so if it's something like that, and he can go to the people and say, yeah, this is a really bad law, and I don't think that's why I vetoed it. And you can talk to, there's a lot of Democrats in California, and there's not as many Republicans, but there's a lot of people there who are independent. And if you got like all those independents together and mix them with like the rest of the Republicans, you don't know where all these people stand on the issues. I would have never thought in 2008 that California would shoot down gay marriage. So there's a lot more conservative people like in the state than you think. By the way, Larry Elder was in support of that because he's a libertarian. All these people fear-mongering about Larry Elder, and he's just a guy who wants you to have the power to control your own life. It's him versus someone who gave you a bunch of draconian measures about the lockdowns and didn't even follow them himself. So you can have Mr. French Laundry, or you can have Larry Elder, who thinks you're responsible and you can make your own decisions. Oh, you want to wear a mask to keep yourself safe? Oh, you want to get a vaccine? Good for you. I'm not going to force you to do that, though. But you guys can be responsible. Like, would you rather have that, or would you rather have, I'm going to close down your business, you can't go eat at your indoor restaurant, but I'm going to go hang out with a bunch of lobbyists at the French Laundry and keep my kids in-person learning at a private school. And so there's just so much wrong with this dude, man. But California, you ultimately have to pick, you can pick insanity, or you can try something different. And then, of course, so he has a bully pulpit, so he can make his case to the people, and they can do, declare a state of emergencies and all kinds of different things. Even if it was just to stop some of this power from the Democrats coming through, even if he could just stop some of that, it's good to have some pushback with politics. You don't need a fierce ideology on one side always getting away with everything. And it's amazing to me that people, even if you believe in the lockdowns, even if you believe in the mask mandates and all the other stuff, why are you okay with Gavin Newsom? Why are you okay with Whitmer or Lightfoot in Chicago or Cuomo? Like, why are you okay with these people who told you to do something, forced you to do something, would punish you if you didn't do what they said, but they are going to go out and live whatever way they want, however they please? Why would you be okay with that? So, it's really unfortunate that these people attacked Larry Elder, and like I said, if this was Stacey Abrams, people would be pitching a fit. They'd be going crazy if this wall-to-wall coverage about racism in America. And people might say, oh, well, Larry Elder just doesn't say he thinks there's no racism in America. That's not true. Like, people on the right who are libertarian, conservative, Republican, like, we know there's racism because that the other side throws it at us all the time, all the time, all the time. I get called all sorts of names all the time, all the time. And I'm sure as my profile rises, if it doesn't, whatever, I'll probably have to have people around me because there'll be psychos like that in monkey masks coming at me, or just because they think they convince themselves that you're a monster in their minds, so that excuses them to make all kinds of different, to commit all kinds of different evils against you. So if this happened to Stacey Abrams and there are crazy Republicans attacking them in a monkey mask, they would be making all kinds of think pieces, and it would just be nonstop coverage. Nonstop coverage. So people need to denounce this stuff. People really need to denounce this stuff. And I haven't seen that Gavin Newsom has, but I hope he has. And I hope all Democrats will. And if you're in a situation, I wouldn't be going out protesting with people who are crazy. Like, if I think a situation is going to get bad at some kind of protest or something, even if it's a Republican thing, we might be on the same side. And I can't speak for all people. I'm just speaking for myself. I try not to go. I try not to go. So once you're among that group and you saw some of that stuff going down, why didn't someone say, "Hey, lady in the monkey mask, that's not cool"? Or people, doing it's not cool to speak to them like that. You can have a conversation, but just there's someone who's about to be the governor or trying to be the governor. Why don't you try to make a case and debate intelligently? You don't have to do all that stuff that they did. So that just shows you where our country is right now. That just shows you where we're at. The state of California is at. This man could really do some good. And to the people who are like, he doesn't have enough time to do anything. If Joe Biden can mess up America so much in 8 months, I think you could give him a shot and maybe he can, I don't know, turn the tide and fix a couple things. And he may earn a re-election. So we'll just see what happens. But Godspeed to Larry Elder. Good luck, and I hope he's able to win. I really hope he's able to win. Because he would do California a lot of good. Next thing I want to talk about, I just really quickly, I wanted to show you this clip of Peter Doocy going at it with Jen Psaki, because there's people still trying to obviously leave Afghanistan, and so there is like a plane that hasn't been able to get clearance to go, and so people were suspecting the Taliban wouldn't let them leave, and so apparently from our Secretary of State, we find out that they are just like kind of holding it up right now, because they don't know who's on the plane. And so it's hard to do that because they don't have people on the ground to verify these people. No, we don't want just a plane to land somewhere, to come to America, and we don't know who's on the plane, if they're terrorists or whatnot. And the Taliban is in charge of like checking all this stuff. They're in charge of the airport. So that's just, obviously we shouldn't have the airport or the country, because now they have their cabinet, and they're establishing their government, like America's Most Wanted terrorist watch list is like running the country. So obviously it was just bad to pull out how we pulled out. And I'm not one of those people who are like, we should have got everybody out anyway. I don't think that really should have happened. We have troops stationed everywhere, but that's for another day. But obviously we don't have people on the ground who can vet them, and we have to depend on the Taliban. That's bad. But there's people trying to leave that we can't let them leave. So Peter Doocy went at it with Jen a little bit.
Okay. Thank you, Jen. Following up on these charter flights that the Taliban is holding up in Afghanistan, the Secretary of State said there are limits to what we can do without personnel on the ground.
Yeah.
You just said we are not on the ground.
You're right.
Whose fault is that?
I don't think.
Cold-blooded. He said, whose fault is that? I'm sorry, I just had to stop that real quick. Peter Doocy, that was like no chill. That was no chill. Like, he goes at it with Jen all the time. He's basically like what Jim Acosta was, but Jim Acosta was a joke though. But he's like the bane of their existence there in the White House. And so I mean, he'll dig at her, but that was like, to me, the most kind of obvious. Like, you can hear it in his voice. There's just no chill about it. And I just love that moment. I'll play the whole clip that I got now.
Okay. Thank you, Jen. Following up on these charter flights that the Taliban is holding up in Afghanistan, the Secretary of State said there are limits to what we can do without personnel on the ground.
Yeah.
You just said we are not on the ground.
You're right.
Whose fault is that?
I don't think this is about fault here. I'm convinced. I think what people want to understand is what we're doing to help address it. There's a handful of Americans, and I'm sure you're not suggesting we should have flights with hundreds of people we don't know who they are, where there's no security protocols.
Too few to go in.
Too few. I just am conveying to you there's a handful of Americans who we are also in touch with, and we are working to help get evacuated from Afghanistan. But decisions you have to make in the federal government are not yes and no decisions or as simple as what you're laying out here. What we're evaluating and looking at is how to keep people on our military bases safe while also getting these U.S. citizens, dual citizens, people who are prepared to leave Afghanistan able to leave. At the same time, we don't think we're not going to allow flights that have hundreds of people who we don't know who they are, who haven't been through security protocols, where we haven't seen the manifests, to land on U.S. military bases.
Well, yeah, I don't think people want to hear about, like, whose fault it is. Yeah, well, we know whose fault it is, Jen. It's you made a decision to not have any more troops on the ground, so when this situation happened, we don't have control of who's vetting them. And it's very hard to make the distinction of this person is safe, this person's safe, this person's safe, etc. So there's people trying to leave that can't leave reasonably from the U.S. perspective. You don't want just people coming in and vetting, which I really hope the people that they are bringing and actually starting to settle here in the U.S. are extraordinarily vetted. And I can't see this administration being competent enough to have achieved a really good screening because they're not competent. I'm sorry. So yeah, it's got to be hard when the Taliban is basically in charge of that. It's got to be difficult, but it is your fault. It is your fault. So we can talk about blame and assign blame. Yeah, we understand why they're not going off. That makes sense. But it's a situation you created. You totally created. It's on you. Can't blame Trump forever. You can't. I've said this before. I don't like when people blame their predecessors as far as like when the president's like, I didn't love when Trump did it, but at least Trump had just gotten into like office and didn't have any kind of association with politics prior to that. Biden has been in the Senate and he was the vice president. He's had his hands in a lot of things throughout the years and should know better, know a lot of the players. As a matter of fact, a lot of people who's in the Biden administration came from the Obama administration, including Jen Psaki. So they should have a way better grasp on how to govern and how to lead, and they just don't. The sad story is that Joe Biden has always been out of his depth, and he's never been worthy to lead or capable of doing it. And they just pulled a big con on America and their party and so on. And here we are in a really bad spot. So Godspeed to all those people who are supposed to be here, who aren't here trying to get here. And I'm sorry that our president is just awful. Our president is just awful. Really quickly, so there's announcements coming in. Joe Biden has a couple measures. I think there's 6 specific things that he's going to say that he wants steps taken to slow the spread, continue to slow the spread, and all this other kind of stuff with COVID. Yesterday, Jen Psaki, in that same press conference, because that was the same outfit from the video clip I saw, said, people asked, like, there's only so much that he can do, so how much is going to change? And so she kind of hinted, if you're unvaccinated, there's going to be some pushes that they're going to make. So I have heard that they're really going to urge that they want schools to really test people. Which, how much are they going to test? How often? And then once someone is tested, what are the measures for who has to go home and quarantine? Like, you're really going to, if you do it every day or really, really often, you might be, and what if it's a false positive test? Like, what happens when you have to send a bunch of kids home? You're like basically going to start probably closing schools down again. and there's just really no big risk to kids. Someone at Bible study told me that they were at school the other day, and I guess the teacher was vaccinated, and then he was fussing at the students because they weren't vaccinated, and he was saying how dumb they are and that they're all going to die, and was just doing all this doom and gloom to like young people in young college. So she was talking to somebody, another young classmate, about it later, and they're just like, we didn't like how they did that, and he can still catch it, he can still spread it, and they can catch it and spread it. So what else can they do? What else can they do to make him feel secure? What? Why does he have to? Why do they have to sacrifice their liberty? It's not going to help him and harm him anyway. He's vaccinated. He should. People thought when they took the vaccine, they should be able to feel safe afterwards. They thought they'd be able to go back to normal life afterwards. But now you're talking about booster shots. I saw things like they were talking about pills, and even like someone on TikTok pointed out that they gave you a card for your booster shots and vaccine stuff, and there's like 4 slots or something, and the pharmacist was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, that's true," and he just thought it was funny because it's like there's 4 slots. They're obviously, and it's not laminated, so they're obviously gonna fill it out again. So when does this stop? When does this end? Howard Stern, and I'm not gonna play the clip because obviously I'm very bad at the censor button, but he was talking on his show about he was talking about radio hosts who said they weren't going to get the vaccine and now they're dead. And so him and his co-hosts were just kind of talking like, oh, we don't have any sympathy for people who wouldn't get it. And you know what? You don't need to have sympathy for these people. I mean, someone goes, they're gone. But usually when people mourn, it's because they're sad because someone is gone, or you mourn because you feel sympathy for the people who were left behind because they're missing someone. So to be so cold is still kind of gross. FYI. But it just goes to show you that people say, well, we just care about people. No, you don't. No, you don't. But he ended up saying, F your freedom, I want to live. And maybe that should be of course, we're not going to use profanity, but maybe that should be the new slogan of the pro-life movement. Like, bleep your body. Like, children need to live. Like, but actually with the vaccine and stuff, at least that's actually body autonomy. With, abortion, that's not your body. And it's always crazy that people keep saying that when you're like trying to remove that person there. That's why you kill it. And then they have to make sure the whole thing came out. So yeah, obviously not your body, but back to this issue. What do you want? What can we do to make you feel safe? Cause you're not actually going to be any more safe. Because you can still catch it, you can still get it, and you can still die, and maybe someone unvaccinated will pass away. But someone who is young, who is healthy, very likely chance that nothing will even happen. They might be asymptomatic, may never know that they actually have it. May never know. If you're an older person, then it makes a lot of sense to try to limit the symptoms so something severe won't happen. Sure. But not everybody is in the same boat. So if you're vaccinated, why are you so scared of life? Go live your life. If someone doesn't take it and they end up passing away, that is tragic, which they don't think is tragic, but it is tragic. But they were exercising their freedom. Freedom has consequences. Not every freedom choice is going to lead to a good end result. But you know what? As they try to keep turning us against each other, just remember, the other day I talked about the big leak of 900 pages from Intercept. There's some accountability somewhere for this whole pandemic. And I don't think people are digging properly or fast enough or whatever. Because they don't want at the time when Trump was president, they didn't want anybody else to be responsible other than Trump. And then even in that big article that Intercept did, they didn't even name Dr. Fauci, and his darn company is the one that has their hands in it. So they don't want him to look bad. So there's still so much politics associated with all this kind of stuff. And it's really gross. It's really, really gross. United Airlines, they're making all of their employees get vaccinated. And I guess a lot of them try to claim religious exemptions, so they're trying to work around that or not include that. But it's just crazy reading the comments of people saying that people shouldn't have these exemptions. And Howard Stern is like, just make people get it. And other people are saying, just make people get it. Forget their freedoms. But I don't know how you can know anything about history and the kinds of things that the government has done to its own people to just want to take away that sort of freedom. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. The same people who try to tell you that killing babies is women's health care are trying to force you to get this. Obviously, they can have very sinister means and methods and try to dress it up when they have a political agenda. We're talking about actually killing babies, and they dress it up as women's health. That's how they talk about it. That's how they talk about it, not the real consequences of what could happen to you if you have a bad abortion experience, what can happen to you mentally, and of course the obvious, the child is alive and you're killing it. They just want to address it as women's health, to dress it up and so they can push their ideology. That's what these people do. That's what they're capable of. And then, of course, we've talked about the Tuskegee experiments. Man, I found out that they gave autistic kids radioactive, it was cereal. I can't remember what brand it was. I'll have to look it up and bring it up again. But I found that out recently. They've done a lot of stuff to people over the years. So they don't deserve that kind of power over our bodies. And it's amazing that at the same time we're having this debate, people are having this intense debate about abortion because of the Texas bill. And one of them is actually body autonomy, which would be the whole vaccine issue. And abortion, people have convinced themselves it's a body autonomy issue. No, before there's a baby inside, you can make all kinds of decisions about your body. And then when someone else appears because of things that you did, and people have been procreating for a very long time, so they know what happens. It's not new information. So you can take some other steps to try to stop that before it happens. But once it does, it's actually in a person. It's human DNA from the moment it's fertilized. That's not a religious opinion. That is actually biology. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. It's amazing. And I'm sure we'll talk more about this tomorrow after I know what more the president is trying to push on the American people. But I don't understand the hard push. I really don't. Really quickly, the Minnesota Freedom Fund, you may remember that when the riots and stuff breaking out after George Floyd died, and those weren't the only riots, because after every kind of shooting that they could put in the news, there was always some kind of riot. Rayshard Brooks, Jacob that's an actor. Jacob Blake, after he was shot, and he survived, and his story was crazy, what he was trying to do at the time when the police were called, for people to even go crazy like they did. He didn't deserve it, I guess is what I'm going to say. And none of these people deserve that kind of chaos that came out of it. But anyway, when the riots started happening, Kamala Harris started tweeting out the Minnesota Freedom Fund, like, get these protesters out of jail. And it's like, well, what if they're committing crime? Shouldn't they go to jail? Shouldn't they go to jail? So she retweeted them out, and other people retweeted them out. Other different celebrities started retweeting them. So the problem with this fund is they just don't like bail. So their goal is to bail out anyone. They don't care if you're accused of rape. They don't care if you're accused of assault. They don't care if you're accused of murder. They're going to bail you out. That is what they do. And they had so much more money than what they normally had because of Kamala Harris, Steve Carell from The Office, Harry Styles, Chrissy Teigen, Don Cheadle, and other people. Seth Rogen did it. And there are other celebrities that participated. But those are the ones I can remember off the top of my head that retweeted, and not only retweeted, but gave them a lot of money or a little money, and they were matching each other's donations. So, turns out one of the people that they bailed out just killed someone. And before I was said like alleged, I mean, they're not charged until they're charged, and you're innocent before, you're assumed innocent until you're proven guilty. But they had it on he was caught by like surveillance. So, pretty good chance that he actually did it. But he killed a man, and that's someone that the fund got out. So the Freedom Fund did make a statement, and essentially they said, we don't like bail, that's why we pay bail. But we are kind of looking to maybe about to tweak some things. From what I know, Kamala Harris still hasn't commented on it, but we can press her and Chrissy Teigen and Steve Carell and all these people, on social media. Let's, kind of spam them, I guess, with, hey, did you see this? Because you are part of this, you gave to this fund, and this is a result of your virtue signaling someone's life. It cost a man his life. So he was released, a Minneapolis career criminal, George Howard, 48, who was previously jailed, then released on bail through Minnesota Freedom Fund. A group backed by Vice President Kamala Harris was arrested August 29 on murder charges. This is from T-Post Millennial, by the way. Minnesota's Freedom Fund bailed out Howard on August 6, who was in custody on a $11,500 bond in connection with domestic assault. So they bailed out this person, charged with domestic assault. Okay. According to the Minneapolis Police Department, George Howard shot a driver during an alleged road rage incident on an Interstate 94 entrance ramp. The victim, identified as Luis Damian Martinez Ortiz, 38, was shot in the chest after a surveillance video captured a physical confrontation with the suspect. Ortiz was pronounced dead at the hospital. On August 29, Howard was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder in connection with the fatal interstate shooting. And so Minnesota Freedom Fund said, we are aware of the reports of the tragic and fatal shooting in Minneapolis earlier this week, allegedly involving, you got to say allegedly, I guess, legally, but seems like it did it, involving George Howard, an individual. Minnesota Freedom Fund had previously provided bail support. They believe in every individual who has been arrested by the law enforcement is innocent until proven guilty, and if a judge deems eligible for bail, they should not have to wait in jail simply because they don't have the same income or access to resources as others. So there's a lot of people really into bail reform, and the result just hasn't been good in a lot of different places. So you got to look past your virtue signaling sometimes and actually see the result of the actual harm that it causes, like this man who is dead. So thanks Kamala Harris and Steve Carell and everyone who helped hype up this place, who they got donations and stuff, were able to do stuff with small cash bonds and stuff, but they got so much money after they started retweeting them. And it's crazy that there's so many people doing so many, there's pregnancy crisis centers, there's people who are in deep financial need, there's people who do mission stuff like my family, my church, and it's just people are yep, let me send money to get these rioters, which they didn't even call them rioters, just protesters out. Just really crazy. So that happened. Last thing I want to talk about, and I don't have a lot of time, but so I'm seeing people go back and forth about Marvel Shang-Chi and how you pronounce the name of the character. So Shang-Chi's been he's not as well known as Spider-Man and Iron Man, and which Iron Man was, he's a main Avenger, but the movies really gave a lot of these people a lot of prominence. But Spider-Man is their most popular character, Marvel side and stuff. But Shang-Chi he's not had anywhere near as much I'll call it screen time, but actually time in the comic book to be out in the forefront as these other characters. But they wanted some diversity. They got Shang-Chi and they made a movie. So there's a scene in the film where they actually pronounce how to say the name. So I'm going to play this clip and then go on my little rant.
I should also probably mention that my name's not technically Sean.
What is it?
It's Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
No, Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Shang.
Shan.
Shang.
Shan.
S-H-A-N-G. Shang.
Shang.
Yeah.
You changed your name from Shang to Sean?
Yeah, I don't...
I wonder
Yeah.
how your father found
Okay,
you.
I was 15 years old, all right?
What is your name change logic? You going into hiding and your name is Michael, you want to change it to Michael.
That's not what happened.
It's like, hi, my name's Gina. I'm gonna go into hiding. My new name's Gina. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, you can hear me.
Okay, just a little FYI, that wasn't funny at all, like in the least. So, not a great job there, screenwriters. That was not worthy of the cut, but it was in there. Because they really wanted you to know how to pronounce this character's name. So I saw a couple of TikToks. There's one guy I follow who was talking about Shang-Chi, and so people in the comments were like, that's how you pronounce it, blah, blah, blah. So he replied to people, and he's like, I knew I was going to get hate for this, but I don't care. I don't care that I'm saying it wrong, or the way that you guys want me to pronounce it. He's like, first of all, if you're not native to that language, he's like, and I used to date a girl, and unless you really know how to speak it, you're not gonna get it really correctly. And as a matter of fact, that scene is a Chinese person talking to another Chinese person who's not able to pronounce his name and is having trouble with it. So unless you know how to do it, you're gonna get slack anyway. So he doesn't care on that front. And he said, I've been calling him this character, this name this way for years, and it's just not about to change. And he's like, and you guys complain. They call normies was what they call people who just kind of jump on like the Marvel train, like the movies and stuff. But he's someone who's actually very knowledgeable about comic books, been reading for a long time. He's probably read way more Shang-Chi stuff than I have, and which I have read some stuff with him in it, but like that wasn't like my dad's been buying books for a long time. He doesn't really buy them anymore, but that's not what I really remember being in the house. But he said, I've bought them, I've supported them, you guys haven't done that, I'm going to call it what I'm accustomed to. And so then there was this other person who they kind of butt heads sometimes, like on opinions with comic books and Star Wars and stuff like that. And so he actually tried to take the time to teach people how to say it properly, apparently. And then he wasn't quite nailing it. And so people started attacking him for not quite saying it properly. And then, so he actually came to his defense. He's like, but this is why I said what I said. So my opinion on it is that man's name is Shang-Chi, and I don't care what Marvel Studios said. And I got some evidence. I have the evidence.
We're very excited to talk to you today. Thank you so much for taking the time.
It's my pleasure to be here. Yeah.
I know that, Thanos and Drax the Destroyer and Gamora are such well-known characters now, but that is not those aren't the only characters that we're going to get to see in the MCU. Shang-Chi has finally been confirmed.
That's what I hear. Oh, it's no longer just a rumor, hey?
It's been confirmed.
Okay.
What would you like to see from your comics in that movie what would you like to see translated onto the big screen?
Easier to say what I would not like to see out of Shang-Chi, and that's Fu Manchu, which I'm hoping and I'm pretty sure they're going to cut him out of the whole thing.
Okay.
So, for those of you who don't know, in case you are a normie, that's Jim Starlin, who I have met before. And at the point in time in history when I did meet him, that's when they were starting to kind of do the movies, and Marvel wasn't treating their creators very well on the profit side. I hope it kind of seems like they probably are giving them more investment and money in their characters now, which that's really what they deserve anyway. You're gonna make all these billions of dollars off of people's creations, and you can throw them some more money. But that appears to be the case because he seems pretty kind of happy in the interviews and stuff that they have now. But he's one of the people who created Shang-Chi, and do you know what he called him? He called him Shang-Chi. He called him Shang-Chi, and now you can say, well, Jim Starlin's not Asian. He didn't know how to pronounce it when he made it. It's his character. He made it. It's his character. He made it. It's a fictional character in a comic book series with magical kung fu and all this other kind of stuff. So the Marvel cinematic universe can call him Shang-Chi. It's difficult to pronounce. That was the whole point of the bit. But everyone else has been calling him Shang-Chi, including Jim Starlin, who created the character. I'm sorry. It just, you can be like M. Night Shyamalan trying to convince us all that his name is Ong, but we know his name is Aang. We know his name is Aang the whole time. You can't convince me any differently. And so, and you could say, well, there's how you pronounce it, and this kind of, there's this how they do the language and so on. Even though he made this character, he didn't understand, and it should be this way. Again, it's his fictional character that he made for a comic book company. And that's how you pronounce it. That's how fans have pronounced it. That's how the fans have perceived it. And if the Marvel Universe wants to do it that way, but in the 616 comic book universe, people have pronounced it as Shang-Chi. And that's what Jim Starlin said. And if you're like in a classroom and you're all English speakers, correct? And someone has a name that is spelled weirdly, and the substitute teacher's having a very hard time, perhaps with a very urban name, and you can know all the ways that English is supposed to be, because maybe you're an English teacher and you can't pronounce the name correctly because their mother decided to spell it whatever way you spell it. Do you go, sweetheart? No, the real way that you say it is this way. No, you pronounce it the way the child tells you, because that's what the mother did. That's what the mother said. And people know this. That's why you had the Key and Appeal skit that was with the Jay Quellen and the Aaron to kind of make fun of that whole kind of dynamic. So if Jim Starlin says his name is Shang-Chi, and maybe he does, and if they brought him on the red carpet, I don't know what he said recently, because obviously this movie's out and they're pronouncing it differently now, and he's probably going around with script program, but what I played for you was 2 years ago. Just 2 years ago. So the Disney Mouse might say differently, but I know what is actually truly canon. FYI, it's Shang-Chi. So that is my show for today. I just wanted to rant about that a little bit. Thank you guys for joining me today, being part of the broadcast. Please go to blacktnews.com and share different content that I have. If you would like to donate, you can go to blacktnews.com/donate and do that. And then also, check out the stuff I got at the store. Find something that you like, and please, get something for you, get something for your loved ones, and so on. And I appreciate all the support that you guys give the show. And I thank you for sharing as well. Catch me on all my social medias, Black Teen News. Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. If you do follow me on TikTok, I have to report. I'm doing stuff for my separate account right now. So make sure that you're following Black Tea News and at True Black Tea. We follow each other on the platform, so it's not hard to miss both accounts. But thank you guys. God bless you. If you are interested, I will be doing lives from the Brighter Michigan PAX page. I am using their studio. They are a sponsor. I didn't say that yet today, but I always like to say they don't care if I triggered you today. That's not how it works. I just use their space. But we do have an event today, a fundraiser today, and I will be singing there, and I will be streaming. So if you're, if you like that page, if you're part of that group, you can watch some of the stuff there, and I'll share some of those things also on my Facebook page, because we're gonna have a fun time supporting the police and having a good time with elected officials and so on. So God bless you guys, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow, obviously, to talk probably a lot about this COVID stuff and the crazy stuff that Biden is doing today and tomorrow, and I guess for the next 3 and something years, until Kamala, I guess, takes over, if she does. We'll see. God bless.